Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna make a video essay about Master of None.
Really? I think your time is better spent on another Logan Friends edition.
Damn, that would be a better use of my time.
Yeah, well, gotta go. See ya.
Alright, see you, bud.
Reggie, who do you think's won?
I think it's Master of None.
You're absolutely right. It's Master of None.
Something I really appreciate about Master of None, the Emmy-winning comedy series starring Aziz Ansari, is its focus on the mediocrities of life. It's the stuff that you usually wouldn't see in a TV show. I'm talking about the boring things you do at the supermarket, the long, pointless conversations that you have with friends. Master of None embraces that stuff, and to an extent makes it the point of the show. The show plays out like a series of exploits of the protagonist, Dev. In the show's first season, the episodes don't have a ton of relation to each other. In fact, the one overarching story, which is really just a B story, ends in disappointment for the characters and the audience. Dev's part in the movie he was working on all season long was cut out.
Say whatever you want. This movie's not really about words.
There's a line in the second episode of season 1 that I think really sums up what the show's attitude towards telling a story is. Right after Dev's dad's friend asks him how he got into acting.
I was just walking around in Washington Square Park one day, and this guy came up to me and said they were trying to find a minority for a Fruit by the Foot commercial, and I said, yeah.
Episode 2, titled Parents, is one of my favorite episodes from the series for a lot of reasons, but I think that line really serves to explain one. What we consider unimportant can affect us in ways that we don't usually expect. It's a sentiment that I feel reflects a lot of Master of None. In fact, it's sort of the basis for Dev and Rachel's relationship. They meet in episode 1 and then have a series of encounters until they actually go on a date in episode 5. With this comes a largely detail-oriented show. It focuses on the oddities of life and the inherent ridiculousness of it.
In the morning, a ding comes. Ding ding.
In another scene from Parents, the day after Dev and Brian have dinner with their parents, they set up a group chat, but instead of putting Brian in, Dev's parents put some guy named Brian Donkers into the chat. The joke is then taken to its logical extreme when Dev's parents extend a dinner invite to the chat.
Brian Donkers, I'm in.
This scene really emphasizes that aforementioned ridiculousness. Of course, if you've ever seen a show like Parks and Recreation or 30 Rock, then you know this is par for the course. Unrealistic events and situations are always great for brewing comedy. I mean, just look at Rick and Morty.
You sold a gun to a murderer so you could play video games?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you spend all day shuffling words around, you can make anything sound bad, Morty. Here, check this out.
What I think really separates Master of None from the crowd of shows that focus on absurdity is that Master of None always feels real. Don't get me wrong, I love Parks and Recreation, 30 Rock, and absolutely Rick and Morty, but something about Master of None makes these scenarios always feel like something I could experience, and the characters feel more like real people.
Well then get your shit together. Get it all together and put it in a backpack. All your shit. So it's together.
The comedy comes from events that I could absolutely conceive actually happening to me. To put it simply, it's relatable. Now, that's not some revolutionary statement. Master of None is engineered to appeal to people, especially young adults. However, I think part of that is absolutely its ability to use comedy in a way that feels realistic. Every joke feels natural, organic. Instead of characters being outlets for jokes to be spewed from, they're real people who happen to be funny. I think this factors into the idea that Master of None is detail-oriented. The characters are the focus here, not the jokes, and the episodes are dedicated to building their characters. This, in turn, at least in my opinion, actually makes the jokes funnier, because we relate to these characters. Even the cinematography is focused on this. Unlike other comedies, Master of None uses a 2:35 aspect ratio. For the uninitiated, it's the black bars that you see in this show and also most movies. Now, this might be a bit of a stretch, but I think the aspect ratio here could actually illustrate focus. It could also function as a way to make the show feel more cinematic and therefore nudge the audience into paying more attention to the details, instead of the disposable comedy that's usually found in television.
Nope.
It also helps that the cinematography in Master of None is pretty great. A lot of the conversation in the show are done in one-ers, which I think adds to the show's focus on conversation and the intricacies of things that aren't regularly dwelled on in media, especially a visual one where time is very much of the essence. Master of None does something that you don't see a lot in comedy, especially on television. It's not only funny, but it feels like a show that really has something to say, and in an age where most comedy could be described as expendable, it's really refreshing to see that there's absolutely still more that can be done with the genre. Thanks for watching.